Power trying to push its way through fear. A Manifesto. What happens when you stop waiting for permission? By Steph Wynne. For the woman who's done shrinking. For the one who's finally ready to rise. Chapter 1. Owning the lane. There comes a point when you stop asking people to make room and start walking like the space was always yours. That's what it means to own your lane, not because you were invited, not because you have a degree or a perfect resume, but because you've been doing the damn work quietly, consistently, sometimes painfully long enough to realize no one's coming to give you permission. I've written over 25 books. Not all of them sold well. I've started businesses that flopped and others that fed me. I've learned AI in my 60s while others swore it was only for tech bros and Gen Z. And guess what? I still had moments wondering if any of it mattered, because the world doesn't clap for slow builders. It doesn't throw parades for women who pivot at 61. It doesn't understand entrepreneurs who aren't just chasing checks, they're chasing peace. But here's what the world doesn't get to decide: that I'm here, that I've earned this space, that my voice is valid, even if it doesn't go viral, that my students don't need to sit in a classroom. They're watching, reading, listening in silence. You don't need a following to be a leader. You don't need a microphone to be heard. You just need to show up with authority in your own skin. That's what I'm doing now. No more waiting, no more shrinking, no more starting and stopping just because the applause wasn't loud enough. This is my lane. I built it, and I'm staying in it whether the road gets lonely or not. Chapter 2. The Shrinking. You don't realize you're shrinking until you try to stand up again. I didn't mean to shrink. It didn't happen all at once. It was quiet, slow, subtle. One small, it's fine at a time. One little, I'll wait my turn. One moment of biting my tongue, letting someone else be more comfortable than I was willing to admit I wasn't. And suddenly, I was smaller, not in body and presence. People used to call me bold. Now I find myself explaining, softening, editing who I am, especially when I speak up, especially when I say something real. It's not that I lost my strength, I just learned to bury it to keep the peace. Sometimes shrinking shows up as silence. Sometimes it's letting someone else's comfort take priority over your truth. Sometimes it's staying in a situation because it's safe, even though your spirit is screaming for space. And yes, sometimes it's a damn motel room you check into just to breathe for a night. No conversation, no family, no tiptoeing. Just you, a bed, and that deep exhale that reminds you, oh yeah, I'm still here. They don't talk about this part of the journey, the in between space where you're too wise to pretend, but not loud enough yet to disrupt the system that keeps you small. But that's where I was, and that's where a lot of people are. Not stuck, not broken, just shrinking themselves to survive. But here's what I know now: if you feel the walls closing in, it's not because you're in the wrong house, it's because your power is growing and the room is no longer big enough to hold you. Chapter 3. The Push. That feeling in your chest, it's your power asking for permission to live. There's this ache I get sometimes. It's not sadness. It's not anxiety. It's more like something inside me is pacing, waiting to break free. You know the feeling. The one that shows up when you're sitting in silence and suddenly realize, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. Not because your life is bad, not because you're ungrateful, but because some deeper part of you, the wild, wise, unfiltered part, knows you were built for more than just managing everyone else's comfort. That ache, that's the push. It's the moment your spirit stops whispering and starts banging on the walls you've outgrown. I felt it in motel rooms, in the back of cars, in quiet corners of someone else's house. That tightening in my chest, that tug to move, to speak, to do something. It's never polite. It doesn't wait until the finances are perfect or the relationships are calm. It doesn't care how long you've been somewhere or what people will think. It just demands to be felt. And if you ignore it long enough, it turns into sadness, then restlessness, then resentment. The push is a gift, but only if you stop resisting it. I used to call it anxiety. Now I call it activation. It's the moment I knew I couldn't keep trying to explain myself to people who weren't listening. Couldn't keep shrinking just to keep a fragile peace. Couldn't keep living inside a version of my life that felt safe, but not alive. So I let it push me into clarity, into movement, into truth. That's where books got written, where posts finally hit publish, where my age became my badge, not my burden. It didn't happen overnight. But once you say yes to the push, you can't go back to pretending you don't feel it. And honestly, I don't want to. Chapter 4, The Power. It doesn't arrive loud, it arrives when you stop apologizing. They think power is loud. They think it's in speeches, suits, stages, and applause. But real power, the kind that stays, it comes in quietly after the war inside you has been won. It's the first time you say no without an excuse. The moment you walk out of a room that never saw you. The first post you hit publish on without wondering who'll like it. It's in the silence when you no longer feel the need to justify your peace. For a long time, I thought I had to fight for my voice. Turns out, I just had to stop whispering it. There's a power that comes with age, not the kind they advertise, not Botox, not filtered selfies, not 60 is the new 40. I'm talking about earned power, the kind that comes after you've lived enough lives inside one body, said yes too many times, bit your tongue for people who wouldn't bleed for you, and finally decided, this next version of me, I'm not toning her down. That's the power I walk in now. No spotlight needed, no crowd required. I show up because I have something to say. I stay consistent because someone out there needs to hear it. I write, post, build, and speak not because it's easy, but because it's finally true. If you're reading this or listening to this and you feel the ache, if your chest tightens every time you swallow a truth that should have been spoken, your power isn't gone. It's just been waiting for you to stop negotiating your worth. This is the version of me that doesn't ask to be liked. She doesn't over explain. She's not chasing seats at tables, she's building her own with space for the misfits, the late bloomers, the quiet giants. If that's you, pull up a chair. You're right on time. Chapter 5, The Peace. Not everyone will clap. You're still allowed to rise. Peace used to feel like silence. Now I know better. Peace is not quiet. It's not hiding. It's not keeping your head down so no one feels uncomfortable around you. Peace is when you no longer betray yourself to protect someone else's comfort. It's when you walk through your own home, your own life, and don't feel like a guest. It's when you say, I love you, and mean it, but also say, I need space, and mean that too. It's not perfect. There's still laundry, still bills, still people who don't get it, still that weird ache some mornings where old habits whisper, maybe just shrink a little. But I don't shrink anymore because I've tasted what it's like to stand all the way up. The peace I have now wasn't handed to me. I bought it with discomfort, paid for it with hard conversations, quiet motel nights, and unapologetic truths. It's the peace that comes after clarity, after letting the power push through the fear, after owning the damn lane and deciding you're not asking anymore. There will always be people who don't clap when you rise. Some will fall off. Some will freeze in place, waiting for the old version of you to return. She's not coming back. This is who I am now. A woman who speaks when she's ready, creates without permission, teaches without a classroom, and walks like she belongs because she does. And if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Not to change who you are, but to finally be her. You're not too late. You're not too tired. You're just on the edge of your own becoming. Take the step, let the power through, and keep the peace that's been trying to reach you all along. Epilogue, the Manifesto. I am not asking anymore. Not for permission, not for understanding, not for space I've already earned. I've outgrown the boxes, the roles, the whispers. I've stopped explaining my shifts to people who never saw the weight I carried to stay small. I am a teacher with or without a classroom, a builder with or without blueprints, a force with or without applause. I will write like my voice matters. I will post like someone out there needs it. I will walk into rooms, virtual or physical, like my presence is the answer, not the question. I am not too late. I am not invisible. I am not shrinking. I am power finally pushing its way through fear. I am truth spoken without apology. I am legacy in motion. And if you're reading this or listening to this, you don't need to become anyone else. You just need to become fully you, loudly, boldly, now. This is my manifesto. This is Steph Wynne,